Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Bebo. In this video, we're going to take a look at subtracting integers. So the main goal for this video, as well as the two that follow, is how do we subtract integers? So the rule for this is we can change the subtraction to addition and add the additive inverse of the integer. And that sounds like a lot to students. And I do have down below here what that looks like with symbols. So if we have, P minus Q, that is the same thing as doing P plus its additive inverse. Really, the easiest way to remember this is by saying the phrase keep, change, change. We keep the first value the same, we change subtraction into addition, and then we change the second number into its opposite, right? So the additive inverse, like we talked about back in lesson 3.1, the additive inverse is essentially just the opposite of the number. So keep, change, change. So we're going to practice that throughout all of these examples in this video, the next video, and even the last video where we take a look at story problems. So with our examples here, we're going to find 5 minus negative 7. So we're going to keep, change, change. So what that looks like, we're going to keep the 5. We're going to change the subtraction into addition. And then the opposite of negative 7 is going to be positive 7. So this problem right here, 5 minus negative 7, that is the same thing as just 5 plus 7, which we all know is 12. All right, let's take a look at some more. So 8 minus 12, if we're going to keep, change, change, we're going to keep the 8. We're going to change our subtraction into addition. And then the opposite of 12 is negative 12. So 8 minus 12 is the same exact thing as 8 plus negative 12. And now that we have this rewritten as addition, we can follow our rules that we talked about in another video, right, where we talked about adding integers. And the rule when we add integers and have different signs, the trick is to essentially just subtract these two values. So we're going to do 12 minus 8. 12 minus 8 is going to be 4. But then I take a look at my two values here. So I have 8 positives and I have 12 negatives. So because I have more negative numbers, right, and more negative values, we're going to end up with a negative 4 for our answer on this question. All right, let's try the same idea on this next one. So negative 6 minus 13. Again, keep, change, change. So keep the negative 6 as negative 6. We're going to change subtraction into addition and then change the 13 into negative 13. And so negative 6 minus 13 is the same exact thing as negative 6 plus negative 13. And our rules for adding integers, when we have the same sign, we add like normal and keep the sign. And so we're going to get negative 19. All right, let's try another one. So negative 7 minus a negative 4. We're going to keep the negative 7. We'll change the subtraction into addition. And then the negative 4, the opposite, is a positive 4. So negative 7 minus negative 4 is the same thing as negative 7 plus 4. We're going to now subtract these two. So it's kind of funny. We change subtraction into addition, and then once we have addition, we actually end up subtracting when we have different signs. So I know it's one of those concepts that just stick with it, practice it, and the easier it's going to get. Trust me. So negative 7 plus 4, because they're different signs, we are going to subtract those. 7 minus 4 is going to be 3. And again, when I take a look at my two values here, we have 7 negatives and 4 positives. So we have more negatives, which means this will be a negative 3. All right, and then the last one for this slide, we have 14 minus negative 3. So we're going to keep, change, change. So keep the 14, change the subtraction into addition, and then change the negative 3 into its opposite, which is 3. So 14 minus negative 3 is the same exact thing as 14 plus 3, which is just 17. All right, let's take a look at a few more. So for this one in the top left, it says 10 minus negative 19. So again, we're going to keep, change, change. So we're going to keep the 10. We'll change the subtraction into addition. And negative 19, the opposite is positive 19. So 10 minus negative 19 is the same exact thing as 10 plus 19, which just ends up being 29. The bottom left problem, we have negative 24 minus negative 17. And so we're going to, again, follow our trick. Keep, change, change. So keep the negative 24. We're going to change the subtraction into addition. The opposite of negative 17 is positive 17. Now that we have different signs, we're going to subtract the two. So we're going to do 24 minus 17, which is going to be 7. And then what do I have more of in this case? Again, when I take a look at my two values, we have 24 negatives plus 17 positives. We have more negatives, which means my answer is going to end up being in the negatives. All right, and then the example in the top right here, we have find negative 31 minus a negative 45. Again, the trick is to keep, change, change. So we're going to keep the negative 31. We're going to change subtraction into addition, change the negative 45 into a positive 45. Because they are different signs, we're going to subtract. So 45 minus 31 is going to be a 14, a value of 14. And then here we have 31 negatives and 45 positives. So because we have more positives, this is going to be positive 14. All right, and then let's take a look at some examples where we're given an algebraic expression that we have to evaluate. So for this first one, it says evaluate x minus y if x equals negative 23 and y equals 19. So the first thing that we have to do when we have these algebraic expressions, right, is to substitute the value of the variables into this expression. So we're going to change the x into what it is equal to, so in this case negative 23. We're going to have subtracting, and then y in this case is 19. So we have this expression now rewritten with actual numbers. So negative 23 minus 19 is this expression that we come up with, numerical expression technically. And we're going to follow the trick that we've been talking about. So we're going to keep, change, change. So we're going to keep the negative 23. We'll change the subtraction into addition and change the 19 into its opposite, which is negative 19. Negative 23 plus negative 19, these are the same sign, so we're going to add like normal. 23 plus 19 is going to be 42, and because they're both negatives, it's going to be a negative 42. All right, and then for this last one, we have evaluate m minus n if m is equal to negative 23 and n is equal to 44. So once again, we're going to substitute those values into our variable expression here, our algebraic expression. So we have negative 23 minus 44. And then we're going to follow that trick we've been saying throughout this whole video, right? Keep, change, change. Keep the negative 23, change subtraction into addition, change that 44 into its opposite, so negative 44. And then because these guys are the same sign, we're going to add like normal. So negative 23 plus negative 44, we're just going to add 23 plus 44, so that ends up being 67. And because again, they're both negatives, this will be a negative 67. All right, that's going to be it for this video. Make sure you check out part 2 where we're going to find the distance between integers, and then video 3 is going to involve some story problems. As always, thanks for watching.